This segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.
Welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Jacob DeGate, and I'm now pleased to have joining us Lonnie Cavalier from the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
All right. I'm understanding you got a few arrests to update us on. Let me hear what you got.
Okay, the first one we have is a Marquise LeBron Williams, 21, 151 Marshall Lane, Napoleonville, was arrested on felony charges related to sex offender registration, as well as a detainer from Louisiana Department of Corrections for a probation parole violation. Marquise LeBron Williams was convicted of felony carnal knowledge of a juvenile on May 12, 2025. As a result of that conviction, upon release from incarceration, Williams was required to register and notify as a convicted sex offender. Additionally, Marquise LeBron Williams was ordered to comply with certain conditions of the registration process and failed to do so. Detectives secured an arrest warrant in connection with the matter. On July 21st, 25, detectives arrested Marquise LeBron Williams in Napoleonville and booked him into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of failure to register and notify as a sex offender, and a detainer from Louisiana Department of Corrections, Division of Probation and Parole. Marquise LeBron Williams remains incarcerated pending a bond hearing on the registration violations, and he was ordered held without bond on the probation parole violation. The second one we have is a Jalen Zarel Jupiter, 21 of 238 Highway 401, Napoleonville, was arrested on charges arising from an incident on May 15, 2025 in Napoleonville. On the aforementioned date, deputies were dispatched to a juvenile-related matter in the area of Franklin Street and College Street. Deputies made contact with the complainant, who advised her grandson was being harassed at that time, there were several individuals involved in the altercation that lasted for an extended period of time. Through investigation, detectives learned that at some point a male subject, now identified as Jalen Zarel Jupiter, drove up on a bicycle and physically struck two of the juveniles involved in the series of incidents. Jalen Zarel Jupiter left the scene prior to deputies' arrival. At the conclusion of the investigation, deputies obtained arrest warrants for Jalen Zarel Jupiter. He was in the custody of Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office and was released to the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office on July 21st, 2025. He was booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of cruelty to juveniles and simple assault, and he remains incarcerated with his bond set at $30,000. Keisha Shermise Victor, 23 of 2525 O'Neill Lane, Baton Rouge, was arrested on felony theft of motor vehicle charges arising from an incident near Platenville. Deputies responded to a complaint at a Platenville retail establishment and made contact with an individual who indicated that he was in the company of a second individual now identified as Keisha Shermise Victor, who was driving the vehicle in question. Victor stopped at a local convenience store and requested that the complainant go into the store to purchase items. The complainant did so, and while he was inside the store, Keisha Shermise Victor drove off with the vehicle. Deputies believed that Keisha Shermise Victor was destined for the state of Alabama. Deputies were able to locate the suspect through electronic means and relayed that information to the appropriate jurisdictions. The vehicle was stopped by the Lincoln County, Mississippi Sheriff's Office. The suspect, Keisha Shermise Victor, was arrested as a fugitive from Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office. Keisha Shermise Victor was released to the custody of the Assumption Parish Sheriff's Office and booked into the detention center on charges of theft of a motor vehicle. She remains incarcerated in the LaForce Parish Jail for Assumption Parish with her bond set at $75,000. The complainant, now identified as Tremaine Unique Jaquil LeBeau Jr., 25 of 10475 Faubourg Circle, St. James, was arrested after deputies determined that he was under a protective order filed by an individual he was in the company of at the time the vehicle was stolen. LeBeau was arrested and booked into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of violation of a protective order. Tremaine Unique Jaquil LeBeau Jr. was released after posting a $2,500 commercial bond. We have a Jason Michael Arsenault, 31, 136 Joe Dugas Road, Prairieville, Louisiana, was arrested on charges related to the theft of an automobile. On July 14, 2025, detectives began investigating the theft of a Honda 300 four-wheeler from an agriculture farm near Pankerville, which occurred on or about July 12, 2025. Deputies initiated an investigation and were able to secure electronic video evidence of the suspect vehicle at the time the four-wheeler was allegedly stolen. That vehicle was located at 136 Joe Dugas Road, at which time a suspect, now identified as Jason Michael Arsenault, was contacted. Detectives made contact with Arsenault and engaged Arsenault in an officer violator interview. At the conclusion of that interview, detectives arrested Jason Michael Arsenault and booked him into the Assumption Parish Detention Center on charges of theft of the motor vehicle valued between $1,000 and $5,000. Jason Michael Arsenault remains incarcerated with his bond set at $10,000. The four-wheeler in question was located in Lafourche Parish.
All righty. Well, thank you, Commander. Lonnie Cavalier, we certainly appreciate you coming on, and looks like y'all been busy, unfortunately, but good that y'all getting the rest made.
Thanks, Jason, for having us. Appreciate y'all, Don.
All righty. Stay tuned for more right here on HTV.
This segment was brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.